I decided on this design that's on the front of my book, Step by Step Texture Quilting. It's a really friendly pattern. Here it is on a stitch sample that I think a lot of people can get their heads around pretty easily. No need for a schedule. Thank you, Kirsten. I'm trying to keep a schedule. I think it's good for me and it's good for you to know if you wanted to like chime in and ask a question, but I appreciate the grace and the understanding, especially with kids. It's just so hard to like know how a day is gonna go, you know? Okay, so the base of this design is a different design. So I'm gonna start there. This is a design that's like endlessly adaptable. It's called different names by different people. Some people call them seashells, and some people call them, oh gosh, now I forgot the other name for them. Anyways, we're going to enjoy them. Clamshells, sometimes people call them paisleys. So the basic of this, we showed this for a second yesterday, is a drop shape. You come back to the point, and then you can echo around your drop shape one or more times. And then you can start a new one. Drop shape, echo, echo. And now what do you do? If you kept doing it, maybe you'd like get a flower. But what I like to think about this design is that it is gonna like grow out. I call this an emerging kind of design. Each new design after the first two is gonna grow out between two others. So I come up here. And now I'm between two others, and this thing can just start flowing. You'll see I'm echoing it 2 times for a total of 3 drops. But I could echo it more, or I could echo it less, especially if it helped me solve a problem for where I wanted to be. So I think I just ended here. I'll just keep going around and see what happens. Okay, now I'm here. Now what if I'm here, but I really wanted to just like keep moving this way and then come back out the other side. Now maybe I'm starting to feel like, oh gosh, I want to fill in this stuff over here, but I'm getting here and start curving it in. Or I could dive into here and come back out there. Always the options. I'm going to show you the sort of the long way around so you just get some practice seeing how that builds. I'm just going to echo one more time and come over here. This is the part where I'm thinking, okay, how can I fill in that space? I'm imagining this sort of like a slightly curved drop would fill that space in nicely. If you wanted, you could make the outer one first, so you have the outer echo already, and then just fill it in with however many fit inside it. That would be fine. Or you can start with the small one and echo around it. Either way. That can be helpful though, so that you're not like trying to judge the space and feeling trapped. Now, I don't want to come back around here and be stuck over here, so I'm just already ahead of time diving down in there and coming over there. It kind of doesn't matter when I do that, but that's how I get not stuck. And that's why this is such an easy design to stitch, because there's lots of ways through. You're never stuck. So sometimes what I see happening when people do this, I'm going to start making it kind of smaller so more of it fits, is I see people going like, I got the one side and then the other, and then the one side, and then the other, and then the one side, and they start just getting this like branch. So if that's happening to you, one thing you can do is, here we are, is you can start to pull one more out. Do you see how I just like flattened it and let it like melt over the top of the previous one? And then you're in a nice place to wrap it around and get that more fluid situation, so it doesn't start looking very linear. I've got this open space right here, and if you notice that, I'm just going to talk about it. I think when you're thinking about like, do I need to fill that open space, maybe the most helpful question is, what's the smallest open space in my design? And so I'm going to look around here, and the smallest open spaces are like these center ones. If this open space here is larger than these center ones, then I'm probably going to take care of it, because whatever these biggest spaces are the ones that pop up and catch the eye. But if it's about the size of these other small spaces, my belief is that it's just going to blend in to the background, and that all these scallops that we're doing are going to stay in the forefront. So this looks small enough to me to ignore. If it doesn't look small enough to you to ignore, one option you have is to, I can't remember which side I ended on, probably over there. You could like sneak in and just add one little loop, or you could put a pebble or two, whatever you want. You can put anything in there. You could even, like, if you like dense stitching, you could even like densify that, which would make it feel really backgroundy. I would be careful with that, because as soon as you densify one, then this one's going to start looking like it needs to be, and this one, and you're going to start feeling like you need to go in and do all of them, and that's going to take a lot more time. Okay, so that's going away. So when you make your drop shapes, before you move on to your echoes, you could really do anything inside them. So you know how I like to do like a line of pebbles in places. So we could do that and then come back down the side. You could put a spiral in it after, or you could put the spiral in first and echo around it. And that's how I draw it. But I'm mentioning the other way because what I know from teaching free motion quilting classes, a lot of times the classes are like split, and it's like some people, their brains work better this way, and some people, their brains work better that way. So I like you knowing however your brain works is fine. And like, this is a great thing to experiment with and just see, like, how does it work for you? It's really fun sort of artistic self-knowledge. So here's how that design goes. I make a little swirl with a little bit of a stem. It's not just the spiral, it's got a little bit of a stem. And then I come back down to the bottom. I could come back down on either way. Like if I had come back down on the outside, that would be fine too. It's all fine, whatever your style is. And then from there, I put the drop shape around it. And then the drop shape again. I could echo a third time if I wanted to or needed to. Let's just go with the 2 echoes for right now. And then another swirl. And back down to the bottom. And the drop shape. And the drop shape. And now we're in the center here. And sort of a longer swirl there. And the drop shape and the drop shape. Now I'm looking, and one of the things I like to see in my quilting is variation. So right now I'm seeing that 3 of these have curled this way. So I'm thinking, sort of just monitoring that my next one's going to curl the other way. And I'm going to echo around here so that I can start pulling this over this way. Wow, this is all the other spirals have been kind of like pointing up and down, but now I've got a little space to make one going out another way. And you know from other videos that we've done that, like, if I can get things pointing different directions, that leads to that sense of a sort of organic flow, unpremeditated. Great, here's a perfect time to think about, where is this one gonna fill in the space? So probably a slightly smaller, so that I can do that. Wow, I got really close there. So I'm not even going to try and go in for that second echo down there. Not important. I'm just going to stop right there, and I'm still between two of the motifs, and it's a perfect place to go out and start my next one. I like it when these shapes curve a little. When you first start making them, you're going to be like, probably going to be very literal about it and make them like stock straight. And especially the first 2, it's hard to get them to curve, but over time they're gonna like want to kind of like lean on each other and, you know, snuggle up to each other. They're friendly, and that'll be easier to curve them around. And that's probably one of the coolest things that you can do that's sort of hard for me to transmit right now. I'll think about what else I can say about that. But when the shapes can just have a little, they can morph a little, they can melt a little bit, it makes it feel really fluid, really beautiful to see. What questions do you have about this? Here's another thing I want to say. You don't have to come all the way to the point, right? Like I could just stop right there and echo again. Same basic idea for how you're moving around, but gives you a little bit less thread density down in these points and, you know, a little more openness. So, and just like designs we've done before, if I'm up here and I want to be over here, I could totally echo what I've done to get somewhere else. I'm gonna echo one more time and do it right over here. See how I didn't go all the way back in there because I just knew that was just going to be a bunch of buildup right there, and I didn't need it to fill in the space. Okay, so I realized somebody told me yesterday I'm supposed to turn my volume up before I start recording, so I just did that. So sorry if it got a lot louder. I'm still learning this stuff. I'm going to go back here and look for comments and see what you've asked. If someone could only get one of your books, which would you recommend? Wow, Mountain Air Handmade is really letting me plug my stuff. Thanks. So if you're a beginner and you've never free motion quilted before, or you're still feeling so uncertain about free motion quilting that you don't do it, then I would say the book First Steps to Free Motion Quilting. It looks like this. I know Instagram makes it backwards. That one is like, where do you put your hands? What do you do if your tension's messed up? And that's the place to start, and it has lots of practice projects. But if you've already got an idea of it and you don't need to like look up what to do with your gloves or your tension or what thread to use and that kind of stuff, and you're feeling some competence, then the step-by-step free motion quilting, the one that has that design on the cover, is the one that is just all designs, and it's going to help you practice different types of designs and come up with ideas when you're stuck for what to do. And if you're like, I just love it when there's like strong texture on quilts and where the quilting like really poofs out, then my latest book is Step-by-Step Texture Quilting, and it has these sorts of designs in it. There's a lot of geometric things. So and I would say that's more intermediate and advanced. Thank you for asking. I hope that you find help on your free motion journey. Great flow on this one. I think so too, right? It was like clearly the queen of this book. Visual scale on the screen is hard. How big are the largest echoes? Well, this is a drawing, and you're probably asking about this. Let me put my thumb on it. So the inner ones are about the size of my thumb. The swirls are maybe just about the size of my thumb. I hope that helps. I think this design could work a little bit larger or a little bit smaller though. Thumbs up. Do you try to keep your echo consistent on a design? I used to be really literal about that kind of stuff, and then I realized that was me getting in my own way. I don't think that the eyeball really cares about the difference between like 1 or 2 echoes or 3. I think that it's all like, can you tell? Is anything popping out to you? You know, like I can see that this one is like I can see that that one has a little bit less, but I had to go looking for it, right? It wasn't like grabbing my attention like, uh-oh. When I looked at it, I had to think about it. So I think it's really a compassionate way for you to enjoy what you do, to have a range of things that are acceptable in your design. You're like, I'm going to echo this between 2 and 4 times, is going to give you a lot of flexibility in moving around the space.